Greetings, programs. This is Wretch, and welcome back to Judge Dredd, Countdown Sector 106. In the last episode, Dredd had to take on a cannibal, as well as a crowd of overly huggy people, which doesn't seem to be Dredd's style. But we took care of that, backup units refilled our ammunition, and med judges tended to our injury, so we gained 15 vitality, which puts us at 29 out of 38. Not bad. So let's go ahead and see what's going on here with this lady. It's not long before Control reports an accident for you to attend. A road traffic accident on George Formby Way, spotted by a roving eye-in-the-sky camera. George Formby is a fairly quiet road, and as you approach the scene, it is clear this accident is a bad one. A yellow car has collided at full speed with the fortunately reinforced wall of an adjacent building. A small hover car is pulled up behind the accident, and it appears the driver, a woman in a hover car, has got out and is looking at the wreckage. She turns and begins waving frantically at you. "Judge," she says, "I heard shots and saw this red roadster zoom off. I don't think this is an accident." She points in the direction the roadster disappeared to. We can immediately race off in an attempt to follow the roadster, contact Control instead and see if they can spot the roadster using street cameras, wish to examine the wreckage, or question the woman to see what else she knows. Well, if it's a red roadster, it's probably going to be pretty noticeable, so let's contact Control and see what they have to say about it. Control quickly confirms that there is a red roadster stuck at some traffic lights a couple of junctions along the Megway. They also add this is the only vehicle matching the description which is likely to have been involved in any attack. Cameras show there is only one occupant in the vehicle, one Vinny Noodles, a person with no major criminal record. Write off an attempt to catch the roadster, examine the wreckage, or question the woman to see what else she knows. Let's go ahead and question the woman first, and then we can check the wreckage. You begin to question the woman about the incident. She appears confused as to why you are not chasing after the gunman's vehicle, but something about the situation is not quite right. Suddenly you are sprayed with some gas emitted from one of the hover chair's armrests. You stagger backwards and see the woman swiftly re-enter her vehicle while you are gasping for breath and speed down the Megway. We pull down our respirator, alert Control, climb aboard your Lawmaster, and take off in pursuit. First off, let's do the respirator. Your quick thinking reduces the amount of the gas you have to inhale, but you are still a little shaken by its effects. You suffer 2 vitality damage, so not too bad. You get confirmation of the perp's location from Control and push your bike to its uppermost limits. Were you able to pick up a newly serviced Lawmaster earlier today? No, we were not. We went for intelligence. You begin to pursue her, being the closest judge to her location. That looks awesome. Your engine boosts your speed that exceeds the capabilities of a normal civilian vehicle, but comes at a cost as your bike becomes less maneuverable. If only you were able to have had the Lawmaster serviced recently. With your siren blaring to make normal traffic pull aside, you have no hope of taking the perp by surprise, and when you do come closer, you can see a woman has emerged from the roof of the hover car. Or a weapon, not a woman. It emits a steady stream of fire, and you engage it with your bike cannon. Time for a Lawmaster roll. Hard. We gotta get 14 or over. And our Lawmaster skill is... holy crap, it's an 8. So we need to roll a 6. So... yeah. Why not? Let's, oh! Holy crap! A 6. We got it! Oh! Hold on. I'm bookmarking this. The cannon fire on the car causes the hover engine to fail, and it crashes to the ground, tumbling end over end. You see debris fly off in every direction, and the driver is thrown from the vehicle. Other judges arrive on the scene, but it's obvious that the perp has paid for her crimes with her life. As the road is closed down, you investigate the scene further. It appears the woman, one Jenny Thorwinkle, was involved in a road traffic accident a couple of years ago and suffered horrendous injuries. The other driver involved in that collision was never identified, although it was thought Thorwinkle might have known more about the crash than she ever let on. It appears she has been preying on other vehicles in the sector ever since. The quality of the weapons installed on her vehicle in particular is of a worrying high standard. You inform Control of what you know, and they direct you to suspend your patrol and investigate Thorwinkle more thoroughly. It's obvious she has ties to an illegal arms supplier somewhere, and her death may lead to other serious criminals being brought to justice. Thorwinkle has an apartment in nearby Jeff Bridges' block and a lockup garage in the block's sub-basement. If you go investigate Thorwinkle's apartment, check out Thorwinkle's lockup, you can contact public surveillance to see if they can trace her movements from before the rash of roadway attacks began. Perhaps she'll lead you to the arms supplier. Let's try that first. Although they have no doubt they can do it, such an investigation will take some time as they will have to comb thousands of hours of surveillance recordings to trace all of Thorwinkle's movements. You instruct PSU to do so anyway. You never know what they might turn up. You take a moment to consider your next move. So I think the lockup would probably be the smartest thing. I mean, if she has all these weapons, she's probably not going to keep them in her apartment, but her lockup, on the other hand... You lead a team of judges to the garage, a double-sized affair, and break the lock. Inside you find a high-end robot which presumably worked on Thorwinkle's hover car. It is a primitive, mute model and is useless for interrogation purposes. The garage itself is largely used for storage. The front half, the only portion visible when the doors are open, is a fairly standard affair with nothing suspicious in it. The rear portion of the garage is separated by a thin partition wall. Pushing your way through the door, you discover a treasure trove of ammunition and spare parts for various weapons. As tech judges sift through the evidence, they find a solitary clue, a fingerprint on one of the rounds of ammunition. It belongs to one Rennie O'Reilly, a convicted minor felon with some ties to the local mob. Rennie works at Honest Joe's Repairs, an auto repair shop within the sector. The place is owned by suspected gangster Harry Cajones, Harry Cajones, believed to be a mid-level member of the local organized crime outfit. You can make a visit to Rennie at his office of work. You can go to his apartment, although at this time of day he's unlikely to be there, and make a visit to his boss at the pawn shop he owns and works from. This is interesting. Let's go to his apartment. He's small potatoes. You kick down the door to Rennie's apartment and find he's not home. You do, however, find a whole host of evidence of his involvement in criminal activity. The second bedroom is full of boxes of what turn out to be stolen goods, and there's a couple of unlicensed weapons. This is in addition to the normal, everyday infractions you would expect to find in any citizen's apartment. It's obvious that Rennie is involved in criminal activity. So, we can go to his place of work and arrest him, or seek out Harry Cajones. He's just a little fish. I wanna get to this guy. Of course, with a name like Harry Cajones. Is that Harry Cajones? Harry is everything you expect him to be. He smiles at your most probing questions, giving you pleasant and non-informative replies. When you mention Thorwinkle and the work carried out on her vehicle, he nods and says it's terrible what happened, but he does not oversee the day-to-day running of the repair shop. As an experienced criminal, Harry knows how to avoid incriminating himself when interrogated. Even when you confront him with the evidence that Rennie O'Reilly was involved in the provision of illegal weaponry for Thorwinkle, Harry remains unfazed. He tuts and says it's a shame that Rennie has turned to crime in this way, as he saw him as a hard-working employee, one who will be difficult to replace. If you want to search the shop, turn to 461, demand access to the back room and storage areas. Instead, you can search them. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and do that. You push your way into the rear area of the shop, but is filled with even more barely sellable junk. Every item seems to be filthier and more run down than objects in the front part of the store. You search thoroughly, but can find nothing incriminating save for a reinforced locked door. Harry mutters something about having misplaced the key, but promises to go off and find it for you. Uh-huh. So, let's go ahead and shoot off the hinges, shall we? Your perfectly targeted shots rip through the hinges, blasting them off the door. A quick shove causes the door to collapse inwards, allowing you access to the area within. You discover a large storeroom behind the door, with a small truck being loaded by 2 men and several robots. It is clear that the truck is being loaded far too quickly, as the crates are haphazardly stacked within. The men look shocked as the door crashes to the floor. They quickly recover their wits and pull out guns from concealed shoulder holsters. To investigate this room thoroughly, you'll first have to deal with them. So, time for a gunfight. Let's see. Rolled as 11. That's not good. Your gunfight is fierce and you lose 9 vitality. Do you still live? I do. It appears that these two have better of you at the moment. You have no choice now but to quickly set your lawgiver to explosive rounds and attempt to blast the truck. Make a lawgiver roll of medium. Oh, are we paying for our high rolls earlier? Yeah, I think we are. You know what I'm going to do? Just because I want to see what happens, we are going to head back here to where we rolled our amazing 6. Because that was amazing. And get to where we are before. Just because I don't want to die too early, because we are losing vitality at a very, very quick rate. Okay, Rennie at his place of work. We check through the apartment. Then we talk to Harry Cajones. And search the shop, back room. and shoot off the hinges, and now we're back here at the firefight. I'm going to go ahead and commit to this one and set the bookmark and go for another gunfight. 4? 13, that's better. No problem now, Dredd. You climb over the bodies of the 2 dead perps and look inside the crates on the back of the truck. They're full of weaponry, various guns, grenades, and heavier weapons in large quantities. You turn around to discover that Harry and his men have pulled weapons from somewhere and are not going to let you interfere with their cargo without a fight. You have no time to consider your options, so decide to try and take them all out, which results in another brutal gunfight, this time at hard difficulty. So, come on now. 14 or better. Oh! Nice. So, swinging your lawgiver up, you dispatch Harry Cajone's henchman easily before shooting Harry in the leg. He screams, collapsing to the floor, and begins rolling around in agony. You move over to Harry and begin to question him. A perp like Harry is well versed in what he can and cannot get away with, and he willingly provides replies to your questions. He explains that the weapons come from a supplier called Max Hardware. Max lives in the luxurious Whitney Houston Con apartments within this sector and has supplied Harry with his weapons for many years. When the information gathered, you can either continue to search here for any further clues, or ride to Whitney Houston and confront Max Hardware, the arms dealer. Let's search for any more clues here. You call backup and help look through assorted paperwork, paying special attention to material found in the trunk. It's clear that Harry is a major supplier of illegal arms to various gangs and individuals in the sector, going back for several years. Some of the names cause you to grimace as you recognize criminals you have brought to justice in the past. You make a mental note of the names you recognized. You'll have to pay them another visit when this investigation is over. Unfortunately, the remainder of Harry's clients are only named in code. Harry crumbles under your scrutiny, but insists that he does not know every person who has purchased weaponry from him. He smiles weakly as he explains that, understandably, they often prefer to remain anonymous, just in case he is ever arrested. There's nothing further to be discovered here that will help you trace the source of these guns. You decide you've wasted enough time here and leave to make your way to Max Hardware's penthouse apartment in Whitney, Houston. You're keen to put a stop to these arms shipments and put Max Hardware out of commission. On your way to the complex, you consider this perp. Not only is he likely to be a major player in the criminal underworld, but he's also managed to keep his activities hidden from the view of Justice Department. According to records, Hardware is a major shareholder of a private corporation specializing in the import of high-end robots from other megacities, notably the Rue Cornerb. I don't know what that is. As you arrive at Houston, you immediately make your way to Hardware's apartment. You bypass the security doors using your Justice Department passkey. You decide not to delay, as the likely Hardware already knows you are here from his surveillance cameras and high-end security system. You burst into his apartment by breaking down the doors, lawgiver drawn and ready to meet any resistance. Your target, however, is not in any condition to put up a fight. Oh. Well, looks like Harry bought it. The man who was known as Harry Hardware is a bullet-strewn corpse lying slumped against a bar in the lavishly furnished lounge area of the penthouse. You quickly check and confirm that it is indeed the man you were looking for. By the look and smell, Hardware has been dead for some weeks, and his killers have ransacked the place. You call for backup and Control informs you that it's on its way. You move from room to room, ensuring that no one else is present and there are no more bodies. As the techs arrive on the scene, you instruct them to look for forensics that might lead you to Hardware's arms operation. It soon becomes evident that he never kept anything incriminating out in the open. The other judges check to see what traces can be found that will lead to the murderer or murderers. This may be your best lead into Hardware's criminal activity. Of greatest interest, though, is some incomplete data on Hardware's computer. It seems he was working on some sort of explosive, probably a trigger for a nuclear bomb. The plans are incomplete, but this is cause for concern. Within a few minutes, the techs come back to you with a few leads. Hardware seems to have an industrial facility near the docks area. Well, in order to investigate, turn to 1026. Although the security system appears to have been turned off and records deleted, forensics have so far managed to place one other identified person in the apartment. The deceased niece who lives in another block. To go there, turn to 431. I'm going to start being very liberal with these bookmarks. I want to investigate. Well, let's go ahead and try the niece first. We can always come back here. Clarissa Mooks has an extensive criminal record according to the data from your lawmaster's computer and is the eldest daughter of Hardware's older sister. She's been in trouble with the law since she was a young juvie, running with the local street gangs in whatever neighborhood she happened to be living in. She's currently affiliated with the Iron Ladies, a gang from Glen Close block. Nice. This is an older, almost derelict building, which would have been torn down years ago were it not for the chronic housing shortage the city currently suffers. Mooks lives in an apartment on the lower levels of the block with her boyfriend, Willard Fry, who also has an extensive criminal record. Despite the gang's name, the Iron Ladies also include male gang members, and Fry is one of the most notorious. You try to contact Control as you make your way to Mook's apartment, but extensive interference is making communication impossible. Well, we can go through the front door. Let's go ahead and try we can also climb the fire escape to the 5th level and enter the apartment through the window leading onto it. So let's try this. However, I hope it's not a fitness check. You carefully climb up the fire escape, keen to avoid attracting the attention of the apartment's occupants. Once you reach the window, you look in and see Mooks, Fry, and 2 of their fellow gang members lounging in a small living room packed with crates and boxes. Some of the boxes are open and you spot various weapons, none of them legal. You wait for an ideal moment to burst through the window and take the perps by surprise, or you take aim from your current position on the fire escape to bring down the perps with your lawgiver. Let's wait for the ideal... well... yeah, let's take him by surprise. You wait by the window, hoping the perps do not look out and catch a glimpse of you. After idly watching a short vid, Mooks makes her way to the window and looks out. She doesn't see much except the sole of your boot as you smash through the window, sending her to the floor. The others are momentarily shocked before pulling out their guns. You down the first perp with a well-placed shot, but then the other 2 begin to return fire. Not too bad. So, we need 13 or above. Did we? 12. It's not good. What's our vitality at 27. You focus your attention on one of the perps and aim for his head. Before he can even register that your focus has shifted to him, you've sent a bullet into his skull and he collapses to the floor in a bloody mess. The other perp dives for cover, but he is not such a bad shot himself. You move out of the way just in time to avoid a direct hit to your chest, but are just a split second too late and avoid the perp's bullet entirely. You manage to get hit, costing you 5 vitality. That's not too bad. You hold your ground and take a good look at the remaining perp. He is clearly terrified, but manages not to lose his head as he aims his gun. Without flinching, you cock your lawgiver and give him a menacing stare, hoping to intimidate him into surrendering. His hands are starting to shake, but he is a practiced gunslinger. Muscle memory takes over and he starts to shoot, one bullet barely missing your head. Ugh. Well then.
Bad move, creeps.
Indeed. Carissa Mooks. Oh, here's another voice of dread. Mooks and her gang are defeated. Let's go ahead and bookmark. Mooks and her gang are defeated. You secure the surviving perps and begin to search the apartment, double-checking that there are no others here. You then begin to check the crates and find a wide array of guns, lasers, missiles, and grenades. You also discover another of the annoying voice of dread things. The LED now displays the number 21, not long before it reaches 0. Mooks had certainly stolen a generous arsenal of weaponry from her uncle. You move over to question her, determined to find out if any additional weaponry is stashed elsewhere, and she has already sold any of it. She is initially very reticent, until you discover some documents which seem to indicate she had access to radioactive material. You move over to explain to her that dealing with such material she was in contravention of the Security of the City Act, and such her offenses could be serious enough to warrant immediate execution. With a little prodding from your lawgiver, her resistance crumbles and she's suddenly very cooperative. Mook claims she knows nothing about any nuke, but admits to selling a load of merchandise to one Jackson Fair, who has a penthouse suite at the top of the block. Even in a block as tawdry and run down as Glen Close, those with money can still live well, and Fair is richer than most in this neighborhood. Did you attend the briefing room back in the sector house? Yes, I did. It looks like that extra research time earlier is going to pay off. You know a lot about this Jackson Fair character already, as well as his gang members. Your lawgiver skill increases by 1 whenever you meet him or any of his cronies. You contact Control and inform them of the general situation and the arms you have discovered. They promise to dispatch backup immediately, although it'll be some time before it arrives. All hover units are already out attending other incidents, and the radio communications interference is stronger than ever, and the techs suspect that it is not a natural phenomena. If you wait for backup to secure Mook's arsenal, not wishing to leave it unattended, turn to 728. You may prefer to make your way to Fair's penthouse, seeing the danger he represents as a greater evil than leaving the weapons unguarded. Definitely, especially with the countdown down to 21. Fair has long been suspected of being a serious criminal, but has managed to avoid being caught, thanks to a mixture of good luck and the great care he puts into his criminal endeavors. He has with him an extremely loyal cadre of perps, most of whom have only minimal or non-existent criminal records. Under Fair's guidance, they have all prospered. So, we can try stealthy. We can try stealthy or the direct approach. Stealthy seems to be served us well this episode, so let's go with that. You use your electronic passkey to open the door and slip in without any of the penthouse's inhabitants being any the wiser. You hear the voices of at least 3 people in conversation up ahead. You also discover several doors to other rooms further up the hallway. The first door to your left is ajar and appears to be a coat room. You can make out several jackets on pegs within. There's another door to your left and one to your right, both closed. Through the final door opposite you, you can hear the source of conversation. You can move forward quickly, ignoring the doors and attempt to catch those talking by surprise. Move forward toward the voices, checking each door as you come to it. And sneak into the second room to your left, deal with any perps there, and then move on. Sneak into a door on your right, deal with any perps there, and then move on. Let's move toward the voices and check each door as we come to it. That seems more thorough. Not wishing to rush into a trap, you proceed warily. You suddenly hear movement behind a door to your right. You fit the silencer and open the door and discover a muscular black man with a red Mohican watching a vid show, his back towards you. You smash the butt of your gun on the back of his head and he slumps in his seat. You secure him before moving into the hallway. Good deal. As you sneak forward, the voices grow stronger and you enter the main open-plan living area. You see luxurious furnishings and a small bar around which 4 people are standing, and you raise your gun. Freeze, creeps. Now we make an authority roll. What's our authority? Authority is 6. That is no bueno. So, let's try. Come on, less than 6. Oh, yes. Time to pass some judgment.
Smartest thing you'll do this year.
The perps raise their arms in surrender. You quickly secure them and check the rest of the apartment and make sure you haven't missed anyone. Ensure there is no one else present before searching the place. You discover several boxes of the strange plastic devices you've discovered throughout the sector. Wrong move, creep. One of the devices blares after you accidentally press this button. You estimate there must be several hundred of them here. Looking around, you find plenty of illegal weapons and other contraband, as well as some plans to a local bank. You move over to the prisoners in order to interrogate them. What loyalty the perps had towards Jackson Fair crumbles when you invoke the Security of the City Act. You inform them that any involvement with nukes will earn them the death penalty if they do not cooperate, and they are quick to realize that you mean what you say. You discover 3 key pieces of information from questioning them. Fair has apparently taken most of the gang to a bank job where they plan on blowing the safe at the first bank of Sector 106. The first bank is renowned for the wealth of its patrons, and Fair is hoping to make a killing when he robs it. Fair used to have contacts with the Friends Criminal Syndicate, and it was there that they developed strange devices to disrupt Justice Department communications. They were never supplied in time for the attempted coup by the Friends leader, Nero Narcos, but the first batch had shipped and Fair picked them up on the chaos of that ill-fated attempt. The gang had spent the last week selling them to juvies and low-level criminals who find the vocal impersonation of you hilarious. They have been set to start producing interference at this time as cover for the job that Fair and the others are currently committing. The bomb was to be assembled by Don the Mechanic Hickson. He lives in a low-rise apartment on Christopher Hitchens Street. You'll be able to get his full address from your lawmaster's computer. So we have a choice. We can go to the Fair, contact Control, or investigate the bomb maker. So definitely have some options here, guys. I'm going to go ahead and end the episode here. I hope you've enjoyed it. I don't know how much more is left to this. It's a lot longer than I initially suspected, and I'm loving that. But if you like the episode, go ahead and click like down below, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment. That'd be a big help, and we'll see you next time. Later days, everyone.